Hi, this is a quick tutorial on how to solve one gene autosomal genetics problems. So you need to read the lecture notes on the genetics vocabulary, but I'm going to be using the example of a trait of dimples. So the gene that encodes for the dimples information has different versions. We will just use two alleles for now. So one version, allele capital D, is to tell cells to make dimples. And the other allele, little d, tells the cells don't make dimples. The capital letter is always the dominant allele because, and it will always be expressed. Whereas the letter written in small letters, that's called the recessive allele, and it's only expressed when there is no dominant allele around. So for this first problem, we are going to use dimples in this family, and dimples is a autosomal dominant trait. Okay? So first, let's break down what this pedigree is trying to show you. This pedigree is a picture of a family, and there is a father who is expressing the trait, the mother who is not expressing the trait, and there's a line between the father and mother, and that tells you there's a mating, and the vertical line tells you that there's offspring. So there's a son and a daughter. First, you want to figure out the phenotypes of each person. So again, the phenotypes means the physical expression of that gene. So the father and the daughter has dimples, and the mother and the son has no dimples. So now we want to figure out the genotypes, and we will assign the letter capital D for dimples allele and the letter little d for the no dimples allele. Okay. So since the father and the daughter has dimples, that means they must have one big D allele each. And for the mother and the son who has no dimples, then you know that they both have little d, little d. So now that we have gone through the obvious things, now we want to analyze 3 people at a time. So choose 2 people that you know and 1 person that you don't. Okay, so in this case, we'll use the mother and the son and the father. The son has little d because he had to have received 1 little d from the mother, and then he must have had little d from the father. And so that shows you that the father had to have 1 big D and 1 little d. So the father was heterozygous. For the daughter, she had 1 big D because she was dimples from the, and that must have come from the father. And the only thing she could have gotten from the mother was a little d. So again, the daughter and the father are heterozygous, and the mother and the son are homozygous recessive. So let's check to see if you understand this concept now. So I have this problem of a different family, and again, we're just looking at the dimples, and you need to figure out the phenotype and the genotype of each person. So please pause the video, work on the problem, and then come back to check your answer. Did you get it right? Hopefully you did. Okay, we're moving on to another problem. In this case, the trait is called the cleft chin, and that is caused by an autosomal recessive gene. And again, you're going to look at this family pedigree, figure out the phenotype and the genotype of each person. So again, pause the video, figure out the answer, and then come back to check. So the father has cleft chin and no one else has cleft chin. If we assign the gene to be capital A for no cleft and little a for cleft chin, in this case, I just wanted to show you that I actually use the letter A because if I use the letter C, my big C, capital C, and little c letters look the same. And so if I'm in a hurry on a test, I might mess up. So I would rather use the letter A. That looks different in my capital versus a small letter. Going through the problem, the father has a cleft chin, so he has to be little a, little a. The son and the daughter both do not have the cleft chin, and so they must have one big A, just like the mother. But because the father only has little a's to give to his kids, the son and the daughter must be heterozygous. So now what we have to do is figure out the mother. So we know she had one big A based on what she looked like, and it's possible that she gave that one big A to both son and daughter. But the problem is we don't know what the second letter she has. So the correct answer is she could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. So on the test, I would expect to have both of those answers to be present. Okay, so let's try another problem. This time, this is called long eyelashes, and it's an autosomal dominant trait. And I've given you another family pedigree. So the man has short eyelashes, the woman has long eyelashes, and we want to know what are the chances of them having children with long eyelashes. So when you draw this pedigree, you can actually maybe even guess the answer right away. You can see that the man can only pass down the little e, the mother can only pass down the big E, and so hopefully you find out that the child has to be long eyelashes and heterozygous. But I wanted to show you that you could actually solve problems like this using something called a Punnett square. Okay, and then in the Punnett square, you would actually draw a little table, kind of like a multiplication table, and on the sides, on the outer sides, you would write down the father and the mother's alleles, and then the 4 boxes will give you the possible offspring. So let's fill this out. So for this example, again, you would have I put the father on the left side and the mother at the top, and then you have the 4 possible offspring chances. So each of those boxes does not necessarily represent one child. It represents the chance of a random fertilization. So in this case, all 4 boxes are exactly the same. So that gives you 100% chance of children having the heterozygous genotype and the long eyelashes phenotype. Okay, so I'd like you to try to do this on your own, and this is another recessive trait, except now it's about red hair versus brown hair. Okay, so try to use the allele R, big R for brown, little r for red. Okay, then set up a Punnett square and work through the problem and then pause. So hopefully you got the answer that their kids will have a 50% chance of having red hair and 50% chance of having brown